Do you want to know what the fallen are, little one? In a sense, they are angels, but not the angels your mom imagines she prays to. Brass trumpets picnicking in the clouds. In their true essence, they are great swirling engines of wing and blood, fiery eyes that peer around the corners between worlds. Dark, radiant things conjured from fresh battlefields. A Frankenstein's Valkyrie, forever crashing to Midgard. What grief demands their hate, what vast cannibal hunger.
Welcome to the Fallen Cycle Mythos podcast. This is a universe full of secrets, waiting for those brave or foolhardy enough to seek them out. Cycle 1. Tales from When I Had a Face was written and produced by James Curcio, with editing by Brian Johnson. A modern fairy tale about death, loss, and finding redemption in the strangest places for those of us still haunted by the uncertain, occult logic of dreams. The fully illustrated black and white edition of this book is available at Amazon.com. The soundtrack features the work of David Bessel, along with additional contributions credited in the individual episode notes. By becoming a patron at patreon.com/mythosmedia, that's MYTHOS media, you enable us to make more content like this and to be able to hire on more freelance artists in future works. Discover more about the transmedia Mythpunk Fallen Cycle universe at fallencycle.com. This podcast contains adult themes and may induce psychosis. And now, this week's episode. Epilogue, The Dead Yet Speak. Well, the hour of departure has arrived, and we must each go our ways. I to die, and you to live. Which is better, only God knows. Socrates, in Plato's Apology. Elowain was still seated beside his granddaughter's spirit, gazing into the dwindling coals. He said, despite how they may have once wished, in the grips of inescapable grief, that it all would end, many still find themselves yearning for a familiar melody when at last I draw near. They fear me because their souls have taken the shape of their stories. They imbue them with such gravity because they hope to keep themselves and everyone and everything they have known for all eternity within that imperfect memory. It cannot be avoided. Soon the day will come when their hands can't recall the fingering, the words are a jumble, and lovers are strangers once again. They forget they were merely clothed in the stories that were given to them, as after all, each tale is but a cheap variation on another, a history forgotten if not for fine hands. I come to set them free. It is now time for you to make a decision. But you must understand the gravity of your choice. You do not frighten me. No, you are not like them, granddaughter. You are Karlu Chartil. You get a choice, Elowain repeated. Do I? In that case, I want neither to be erased in the twilight forest nor reborn to a doomed world. You came to set me free. I want my freedom. You need a guide, he said, haltingly at first. Before readying yourself for the cold totality of oblivion, while you're still slipping on your jacket, gloves, and scarf, take a moment to recall that, of all the billion lives, and all the people those souls imagine themselves to be, your memories are only truly preserved through us. All that knowledge can be yours. So you taught my gran, and so she taught me. I once believed it, but our legend is not our life, though anyone who once knew you would say otherwise. Our dearest stories are all lies, no matter how faithful we may be with the truth. Without another word, she took to the air and flew as fast and as hard as she could. Elowain called after her, his hands outstretched. He spoke in soothing tones, though his voice projected far into the icy air. He continued to entreat her, telling her of all they might do together if she became his student. Owl flapped harder. He tried to grab hold of her, but she was already gone. There is so much for you to learn, he cried hopefully, one hand still reaching up toward the canopy overhead. Owl had always been an echo, a shadow of someone else. How could a shadow follow him into the light? She would only be free when her tale was no longer remembered by anyone else. Gran's greatest fear could be her own salvation. She held on to her final secrets, swallowed them like a stone, even if they might one day drag her to the bottom of the ocean. As to the rest of her tale, once she was free of grandmother and grandfather alike, none may ever know, for silence was the price of her freedom. Eluane pondered what she had said, an uncharacteristic, momentary smile on his face. He was finished with this particular tale, carried to his pen from the mouth of his granddaughter's spirit. He closed the book, uttering a final prayer, as one says at the conclusion of a burial, and blew out the fire in the bowl. After staring for a time at the dimming coals, he got up and exited the House of Bones, stepping out into the electric thrill of that twilight moment before dawn ignites the frosty air. Her future might be dead to memory, but others would still have need of him. The final battle was always about to begin, a world always ending. Even within that last, absolute dark, the void was stirred by the rotation of the worlds above, never ceasing, never wavering. For eternity is at once everywhere and nowhere. There would always be a day to follow the final day.
In the beginning there was nothing but the void and the voice. The circle closes, the ray exceeds and then returns ever to itself.
So it was, so it shall be, so it already is.
There are many entrances to a life, but only one exit.
The Chronicle of the Fine. This concludes Tales from When I Had a Face, the first Fallen Cycle novel we have been listening to in audio format here on the podcast. The black and white illustrated edition is available now on Amazon. Next up will be Party at the World's End. These are the first and final days. Written in 2010 and published in 2014, Party at the World's End is a mad ride with Lilith and her band of miscreants who transform from escaped convicts to superstars of a different kind, grappling with the intoxication of influence and fantasies which seem to have become all too real. Are they on an ego trip, or do they truly believe they are the reincarnated avatars of immortal entities? Check fallencycle.com for updates and to explore the other stories within the mythos